Om Sri Sai Ram, Om Sri Sai Nadhaya Namaha, Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Today we will discuss Sri Saisatcharita 45 chapter 45. In this chapter there are so many topics that were discussed. In reality, it includes karma, bhakti, gnana, all kinds of things that Baba taught his devotees, especially through Anandarao Pakhade and Dikshit, Syama, Mahalsapati. Like this, there were so many incidents in this one. Usually, it is very hard to withdraw our mind from the worldly distractions. This happens because we do not have enough love towards God. We may love God, but we have other things in our mind all the time. But what could be worse? We can say that we have real devotion when all organs of action, senses, and other human aspects of life converging as one and be able to love God. What is the use of this devotion does not exist, and still we do sit in front of Sai. A real devotee should not tolerate the separation from Sai even for a minute. If we cannot get rid of intense passion towards these objects in the world, it is very difficult to increase our love towards God. Of course, parents will love their children, and then the children will expect the material belongings of the parents, and wife or husbands, they want the stability in their life and in their family, but no one helps you in the quest for salvation. Who is going to help you with these things? We have to help ourselves, and Guru can guide us. We have to cut down the expectations from other people and start showing self-confidence. We need to examine ourselves, and this is the only path to the freedom. We are in bondage, and we have to realize the intensity of this complicated world, which is like a maze. And who is going to help us? Who is going to give us the answers? Guru is the ultimate answer, and by reciting Guru's name, and we will achieve this goal, we will be able to see God in all the creatures. This is what Baba taught all the time. In this chapter, next Hemant Pant talks about the Navanatha's devotion. Let us see what it is about. Once Dikshit was reading about Navanatha's devotion in the Bhagavad Purana, which is in the 11th skanda of the Bhagavad, and he understood the depth of their teachings in that chapter. And then he says that how difficult is this bhakti, devotion path, and for ignorant people like us, it is even more difficult. This could not be achieved even in multiple lives. We're all sinners, and these Navanathas are special souls. So here, there is some kind of dejection there. He understood the depth of the knowledge that they were talking about. And like we talked about, this is in the 11th skanda of the Mahabhagavat. So let us examine what Dikshit is talking about. If we go to the initial creation, the Srishti, first one was great Manu, and he had a son named Priyavrata, and he in turn had a son called Agnidrudu. Agnidra has a son by name Nabhi, and then Nabhi had a son named Rishabha. Rishabha had 100 sons, and Bharata was the oldest son. And of course, they talk about Bharata Desa, how the name came, the name of the India. It was named after him. His brothers were mostly into routine life, except 9 brothers, who were filled with wisdom, gnana. They were self realized. They saw everything in them, and they were approached by King Nimi one day. And King Nimi asked them to impart the knowledge so that his life can be changed. Then they started teaching him. Kavi was the first one who talked about surrender. So, why is this important? The surrender is the most important thing, because when you don't have the belief, like Baba says, faith, that is Shraddha, that is the most important thing. Then comes the the Havi. He talks about the qualities of a devotee. One of the main qualities of the devotee is patience, that is saburi. And not only that, we need to cross the Arshad Vargas, we need to overcome difficulties in the life. Then only we can understand certain things. What is that certain thing? Then the Antariksha, Rishi, Antariksha by name, he talks about Maya. What is Maya means? So in simple words, what is Maya? Maya means the name and form. When we see the world by name and by form, we get stuck there, because we have to see the energy inside. We have to see the inner core, that is the Paramatma. So that is called Maya. Then Prabuddha comes. Even though we know what is Maya, if we do not know how to overcome this Maya, how to cross this Maya, it is useless. That is what Prabuddha taught Nimi. Then comes Vipalayana, because when you understand Maya, you start discovering Paramatma Tattva. That's what Vipalayana talked about. He talked about Narayana Tattva. And then Avirhotra comes, and then he talks about karma. It is not enough just to understand Maya and understand Paramatma Tattva. You have to live the life in every day in this world. So you have to understand what is Karma Marga, Karma Yoga. That's what Avirhotra taught. And then Drumila comes about God's incarnations. And then Chamana talks about people who does not have devotion and what happens to them. Usually we talk about how important it is to worship God, but it's also important to know what happens to people who does not worship God, who does not follow dharma, who does not follow karma. What happens to them? This is what Chamana taught. And then Karabhajana talked about how to worship God in various yugas. We have 4 yugas. Ours is Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, mainly following God's name or Guru's name is the way to moksha. Like this, all of them preach the entire karma, bhakti, gnana, and the entire Upanishad wisdom. That's why Dikshit was worried and he understood what he had to do. Of course, Syama was a great devotee of Baba. He had great faith in Baba. He comes to the rescue and did not like the melancholy expressed by Dikshit. He reminds him that we have Baba in our lives and we do not need to be that despondent. He also reminds him that Baba asked Mr. Dikshit to read Bhagavata Ekadasi Skanda and Bhavarda Ramayana. And is this not enough? He is guiding you, and reciting Guru's name or God's name is the way to go. So we do not have to worry. Like that, Syama mentions the Baba's words. Dikshit knows this truth, but he is looking for perfection in his love towards Sai. He continued to be anxious and restless the whole day, thinking and brooding over it. And then he wanted to achieve that powerful bhakti gnana of the Navanathas. Next morning, of course, Baba won't leave his devotees like that. Next morning, a miracle took place. There comes one gentleman by name Anandarao Pakhade, and he was searching for Syama because he found out that he was there near Bhagavata Parayana place. So he comes there. He wanted to give a when he comes there, first he started mentioning in a low tone about his dream vision that he had to Shama. As there was some interruption in the reading because they were whispering, Kaka Sahib Dikshit stops the Parayana and asks them to talk about that matter. And then the Syama says, yesterday you expressed your doubt. Now here is the explanation of it. Here, Mr. Pakhade's vision, which Baba gave him, explaining the characteristic of saving devotion and showing that the devotion in the form of a bow to or worship of Guru's feet is sufficient. So all were anxious to hear what was the dream, how Baba gave him the vision to Anandarao. At their suggestion, Anandarao began to relate the vision as follows. He says, I was standing in deep sea in waist deep water. There I saw Sai Baba all of a sudden. He was sitting on a beautiful throne studded with diamonds, with his feet in water. I was most pleased and satisfied with the form of Baba. The vision was so realistic that I never thought that it was a dream. Curiously enough, Madhavrao was also standing there. He told me, Anandarao, fall at Baba's feet. And then he wanted to do that, but he thought that how can he place his head underwater like that? And he felt helpless. Hearing this, Syama told Baba, asked Baba, requested Baba, O Deva, take out your feet which are underwater. Then Baba immediately took out his feet. And then he says that I caught them without delay and bowed to them. On seeing this, Baba blessed Anandarao like this, go now, you will attain your welfare. There is no cause for fear and anxiety. And then he also added, give a silk bordered dhoti to my Shama, you will profit thereby. So that's why he brings a dhoti to Shama. Here we can think why Baba asked Anandarao to give it only to Shama, why not to the other people? If we remember in reading Saisatcharita, Syama represented Baba. Whenever somebody invited Baba, Syama was sent as a Baba's representative. That's why giving it to Syama means it is giving it to Baba. So in compliance with Baba's order, Mr. Pakhade brought the dhoti and requested Kaka Sahib to hand it over to Madhavrao, that is Syama. But the Syama was refusing to take that one. So then Kaka Sahib Dikshit comes into the picture and then draws some cheats where he cast that lots and Baba's wish came true. In this way, both Anandarao and Syama were satisfied and Kaka Sahib's difficulty was also solved. So when they casted those lots, small papers where they wrote to accept it or not accept it, and then they put these papers in front of Baba's feet and then asked a boy there to pick one of them. That's when it comes as that Syama need to accept it. So that's how Syama accepted it. This story exhorts us to give respect to the words of other saints, but at the same time asks us to have full faith in our Guru and abide by his instructions. Of course, Guru knows our welfare, and then who else will know better than our Guru? There are innumerable saints in this world, but our Father, our Guru, is the Father, real Guru. Others might say many good things, but we should never forget our Guru's words. In short, love your Guru and surrender to him completely. You have to prostrate before him reverentially, and then you will see that there is no sea of the mundane existence before you to cross, and there is no darkness that you cannot cross. In the end, in this chapter, there is a mention about the wooden plank that Baba slept in the previous chapters that we read. Let us see what is this one about. Baba was sleeping on a plank which was tied to the ceiling, and then we all know that Baba broke this plank because everybody was curious and people were coming to watch this. So once Baba was describing the greatness or importance of this plank to Kaka Sahib Dikshit, and hearing that, Kaka says that if you still love the wooden plank, I will again suspend or hang up one in the masjid again for you to sleep at ease. Baba said that he won't sleep up there, leaving Mahalsapati on the ground. Then Kaka Sahib wanted to provide another plank for Mahalsapati also. But Baba said it's not easy to sleep up there. Whoever has many good qualities, they can only sleep up there. He who can sleep with his eyes wide open can affect that. When I go to sleep, I ask often Mahalsapati to sit by my side, place his hand on my heart, and watch the chanting of the Lord's name there. If he finds me sleepy, I wanted him to wake me up. He cannot do even this. He himself gets drowsy and begins to nod his head. When I feel his hand heavy as a stone on my heart and cry out, "Oh Bhagat," then he moves and opens his eyes. How can he who can't sit and sleep well on the ground, and whose posture is not steady, and who is a slave to sleep, sleep high up on the plank? Like this, Baba was teasing Mahalsapati, but at the same time, he was teaching us the ultimate truth of the human goal. Sleeping eyes wide open means living in this world without getting attached to the objects of this world. That means staying in Atmagnana is living with eyes wide open. This is the truth that Baba was trying to teach us here. And in this chapter, there were beautiful words Baba gave to this mankind. What were they? What is ours is with us, and what is another's is with him. This is a very simple statement to hear, but it depicts the entire Karma Yoga in this single sentence. Here, Baba made the whole karma theory into a simple sentence. We all have to remember that we are responsible for our own actions, and if we start blaming other people for our miseries, we suffer more. This is the truth, the initial truth in this path, this devotional path, this gnana path, this path of Sai. First thing we have to understand is Karma Yoga, where we understand we are responsible for our own actions. Understanding this concept is the first and foremost step in the path of spirituality. If we understand this truth, we will be walking on this path easily, what Sai showed us. With this, we will conclude this chapter and we will discuss other chapters in the coming satsangs. Om Sri Sai Nadharpanamastu. Om Sri Sai Ram. Om Sri Sai Nadhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai.